Yes, what is up everybody? I'm in a hotel room. I'm in New York City. You're gonna have to trust that I am here in the Big Apple. I have a very special guest that's gonna verify that, and I'm gonna bring him on soon. But before I do that, I wanna thank everybody that came to my pickup games in Dallas, in Boston midweek, and then in New York City this past weekend. I feel like I'm doing like a league and then Champions League midweek games with you guys with these pickup games. I'm gonna be in Miami soon, and then at MLS Cup. Obviously that destination is still unknown because the playoffs haven't started yet. In fact, I'm gonna do a playoff preview very soon, probably tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be awesome, and I'll have some prizes that you can win and all that good stuff. But before I bring on my special guest, I wanna talk about Leicester City and the helicopter accident. Terrible, terrible tragedy. And for me, when I think it through, it's just crazy to me that this guy, the owner of the team, I think he was 61 years old, he worked so hard to get to where he got, to build his empire, and he invested in a city when it needed to be invested in, and a team, obviously. And he pulled off probably the most impossible sports story of our time. Like, that'll never happen again when Leicester won the Premier League. It's incredible. And so he reinvigorated this whole team and this whole area of a country, and obviously enlightened everybody as to how powerful sports can be. So for him to do something that he's always done, which is get into a helicopter and fly home hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, and then it just go away, disappear, and it's over, is crazy to me. I don't know, it's really hard for me to wrap my head around how fragile life is at times. We get caught up in a lot of the minutia, stuff that doesn't really matter, and this really brings it back to what does matter and gives you perspective. So obviously my thoughts are with his family, with the club, everybody that's involved in this terrible tragedy, and hopefully they can somehow spin this in a positive way and build off of it and continue to honor him in the way that he deserves to be honored. So just wanted to say that, rest in peace to everybody that passed away, and onwards and upwards to everybody that has to kind of shoulder the burden and continue to grow and do something positive in his memory. All right, so I got that out of the way. That was pretty heavy. I don't talk about too many heavy things on this channel. Maybe I should more, but yeah, definitely wanted to touch upon that. Now, without further ado, special guest making a first-time appearance. It's the soccer influencer.
What's up, Jimmy, bro? Yo, so psyched to be dropping another fire collab with my boy Jimmy. You know me, I'm the soccer influencer. I got millions of followers on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Alright, I love the beautiful game. I love soccer. Don't watch it, don't know anything about it, but I love it.
And you look good.
Thanks, bro. Dude, yeah. I got the hottest threads. This was a collab with this brand. It's like pretty obscure, used to exist a few years ago, and I'm working on a few new fire ones as well, but can't talk about that, you know. Keep an eye on the IG.
Awesome. So you're here to talk about a big game, a big weekend of games.
Yo, big weekend of games like there always is. That's why they call it the beautiful game.
All right. So you were paying attention to these games, or you weren't?
Yes and no. I was at bars while these games were on. I was not watching them. Okay, I was looking at my phone. I was on Twitter. So by watching what happened on Twitter, in a sense, I did watch the game, and that's why it's the beautiful game.
Cool.
Let's talk about these games, bro. What happened?
Yeah, so the first one that I want to talk about is El Clasico. Barcelona hosted Real Madrid.
Classic game.
I mean, without Messi, Barcelona beat Real Madrid 5-1. Absolutely slapped him around.
Man.
He's taking photos from the stands, looking like Eminem, you know, with his beard and got the hoodie on. Yeah, you like that? You know?
Oh, I love that.
Is that on brand for Messi?
Oh, dude.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like he's, you know, he's out of tattoos. He's got a beard. He's kind of taking his game to the next level.
Exactly. He's taking his social media game to the next
there we
level.
Go.
And that's important, right? Because you can be yourself, but eventually, if you really want to be successful, you got to pretend to be someone you're not. And that's what Messi's doing right now.
All right. It seems like the team is doing well without him, though. So I want to give a shout out to Barcelona for putting 5 past Real Madrid. Now, with regard to Madrid, I don't know what's going on with them. The last couple goals that they've scored were not scored by any of their attacking players. Marcelo, I'm not counting the Champions League against Victoria Pilsen. That doesn't count, by the way.
No, Victoria Pilsen, come on.
Yeah, it's like it sounds like a beer. Yeah, it really does. So that one doesn't count, but I worry for them. They're 9th in the table now. And we could argue, and I said this before in a previous video, that I think this group of players has hit their peak. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo and Zinedine Zlatan could sense that, and that's why they bolted to greener pastures.
They knew, and you saw them taking a lot of shots from outside the box, according to a tweet I saw. And like, it's always weird, man, if you like poach someone else's guy like they did with this Julian dude, it's just bad blood from the start. It's like bad karma, it's bad vibes, and the last thing I want is bad vibes. I'm like a good vibes only guy. So I get why at Real Madrid it's been a little weird.
I've seen
when
that.
you start off on the wrong foot.
That's one of your hashtags, right? Good vibes only?
Good vibes only. Prayer emoji, hands, hashtag follow me please, I need this.
So you bring up the manager, Julian Lopetegui.
Yeah.
Obviously, the bad juju you're referencing is when he was about to go manage in the World Cup of Spain.
The day before.
Oh,
the day before. That's like
So
you're about to drop this new hat line at Fashion Week, and then they're like, "Yo, I'm actually gonna do flip flops."
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No one wants that.
No, nobody
Do
wants
your
that.
hats. Your hats are good.
Yeah, your hats are good. Stick with what you know.
Yeah.
So you think this is karma then?
Look, I'm not a believer in karma. I've done a lot of bad stuff in my life that I don't want coming back to me. But I do believe that maybe there's some, you know, not great blood there at the start, and that's maybe set things on the wrong foot to begin with.
Okay, so now Real Madrid in 9th. I think they've only won 1 out of their last 5 or 6 games, and that was against Victoria Pilsen as a beer, so I don't know if that counts. Do you fire the manager now? It's a tough one. Do you give him the January transfer window, or do you just say, all right, we're done with you, it didn't work out? And this is Madrid. Madrid is known for doing this.
Right, it was like, were we talking about you making the decision, or are we talking about Fiorentino Perez making the decision, who is a guy I worked with, right, when I was rolling out my soccer skateboards. You know, it's like, it's a new version of soccer where you can play soccer while you skateboard. The guy loved the idea, but he didn't like the guy I was working with, Kanye West, and he fired him over my head, and like, that's the type of moves that this guy makes.
Yeah, he's into power.
But what do you think? Do you think it's more the players or more the manager?
I would say it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, they're creating some opportunities. Even in this game in El Clasico, they had a couple chances. Benzema had a great header. Luka Modric hit the post. Would have made it 2-2 with 15 minutes left to go. And then they completely capitulated. And it just makes you wonder what's going on with the psyche of the team. Because they don't seem to have that same resolve that they had before. But there's something that's different. And I think we could argue the X factor is Cristiano Ronaldo. They relied on him so much to score those big goals. And now that he's not there, he's doing it for Juventus instead. He had 2 against Empoli this weekend on the road, which keeps Juve's undefeated record at the top.
And even when he wasn't scoring, we saw in stuff like with Portugal at the Euros, which is something that, again, I was working at on, you know, some like elite new Argyle socks that were soccer related.
Were they like moth? Is that the moth?
Yeah, moth memes are really in right now.
Yeah, it was out during that. Remember, I just remember the moths.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was you or not.
That moth was a brand activation, the ones on Ronaldo's face. But we saw that he's a leader, and that, you know, probably when it comes to games late like this in an El Clasico, you're missing that leader that you can look to and be like, yo, what do we do? Because, like, I'm that guy in my, like, fashion and beats collective. Like, we make both music beats and we, like, farm beats on a farm. It's a beat farm, in like it's a double entendre, and like I'm that guy for my people. And if I left, like my guys like Gecko and like Cub and Chase, they just like be putting their in the sand because they wouldn't know what to do.
Well, speaking of Juve, let's
let's talk about Juve.
Let's transition to them. They're unstoppable. They're gonna win, I think, Coppa Italia and Serie A again. Now it's just a matter of whether they can win the Champions League, which would be incredible. And just getting a soccer influencer perspective, if Cristiano Ronaldo can win the Champions League with Juventus, would that make him the best player of all time in your mind?
Oh, look, bro. I mean, you can't like make.
I'm just curious.
Like
okay, it's
best
fine.
Player of all time.
I'm just saying that I think it has to be factored into the
Sure, that he can go to different countries and perform and like bring trophies. But I mean, at Juve, they're a team that's like won the trophy the last like bajillion years.
No, I understand the league. I'm just talking about the Champions League.
Winning a Champions League with this Juve team would not be the easiest thing in the world, and you have to give him a lot of credit if he was able to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm actually surprised because I thought Juventus was just a brand and not a team. Because they got all that like cool gear and they did that new logo that's like just a J but not like a soccer crest. I'm like, damn, these guys make like sick clothes, and apparently they like ball out on the field too, and that's dope.
That's dope.
That's actually why they call it the beautiful game.
Because of Juve.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Well, there's some other results that happened in Serie A as well. Napoli came back in the 90th minute. Dries Mertens scored to tie Roma 1-1. Gutting for Roma. They're also in a similar situation to Madrid. They just can't seem to figure it out after having a lot of success for them. After they had pretty good run last year and then into multiple competitions. And then AC Milan got a 3-2 win over Sampdoria. For me, is a big win, and the biggest reason why is they switched to a 4-4-2. They got Catrone and Higuain up top. Both of those guys scored. I love having two forwards up top. I think it makes a big difference for the team. I think it occupies the opponent's back four in a way that there's different pockets of space, and hopefully this is the formation that they can use moving forward to continue to have success, because they have more than enough talent on their team.
Yeah, and those two guys up top, Higuain and Cutrone, they're dope, dude. They like ball out, so you want to find a way to have both of them in there up top, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks for repeating what I just said. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, look, like I said, man, I don't I don't watch soccer.
Okay, we know that there were some big games that were happening in English-speaking countries, but we're going to go to Le Classique, Marseille versus PSG first. Now, Marseille came in, maybe not in the best of form, but still a formidable opponent for the Parisian Giants, and they lost 2-0. I thought the biggest note in this game was that Mbappe and Cavani didn't start, and Choupo-Moting and Draxler started instead. Bold choice, I think, by Tuchel, the manager for PSG, to do that. It worked out. They won 2-0, but only after Mbappe came onto the field.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, Mbappe is probably one of the most, like, brandable guys in the beautiful game right now. And, like, you want him on the field so that people can, like, watch it and be like, I want to buy Adidas shoes or Nike shoes from seeing this guy. And it's like, why are you not putting him at the start? Because then you'll sell more gear and probably score more goals.
I mean, you have to rest him a little bit, or do you?
Yes,
I mean, he doesn't have that much mileage on his legs. So why not just roll him out every single game?
Like, when I was 19, I was like up until 3 a.m. every night just like making beats. And it didn't get me anywhere, but it was important.
Yeah, very similar to Mbappe.
Definitely very similar.
Yeah.
Do you think like Neymar's a little salty though, that Mbappe is like the hot new kid and Neymar's like...
I do. I think when all is said and done, we're going to look back and say that Mbappe was a better player than Neymar. I'm putting my flag in the ground.
30 years from now, you
think
so?
Yeah.
Oh, word. Yeah, yo,
I think Mbappe is going to just have a more distinguished career. He already won a World Cup.
Already there. Seems like you might have a better attitude as well.
I don't really mind Neymar swapping. I think it fires up other people.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's on brand, you know?
He's super on brand. He is that guy. He also has cooler hair than Mbappe. And for me, what it will take is I'm going to need to see in the next 10 years, can Mbappe up his like weird hair game to compete with the best of the best in the beautiful game? I don't know. That's a question that he has to answer with his talent and with his barbershop.
Now, I'll say this though. I'm curious about Mbappe's next move. He's going to do it all at PSG. Already has done it all except win the Champions League. I don't think they're going to win the Champions League this year for whatever reason. They just don't seem to have the steely resolve that I think you need to have to win that competition. But where does he go next? For me, Real Madrid seems like
probably, and they're going to need to do a rebrand pretty soon, I would think.
Yeah.
Because like, look what happened this weekend. They're going to want to freshen up their brand, and like Mbappe's the guy for that probably.
I would sell Benzema and Bale and go get Eden Hazard and Mbappe.
Bam.
That's what I would do.
Yo,
and then Luka Modric, Toni Kroos are getting a little bit older too. Casemiro's young.
Yeah, I mean, just think about like the announcement posts that they would make to announce those players. Like the engagement would be, they'd be friggin' insane, dude.
I wouldn't go for Neymar now if I was Real Madrid. I would put all my eggs in the Mbappe basket.
That's a good basket.
It is a good basket.
Yo, what if you made an Mbappe basket? That's like a collab between like Mbappe and like people like
Off-White?
Most people use like bags now, but what if we like brought baskets back and it's like the Mbappe basket?
Would we do it the same way, like the fanny pack across the chest?
Yeah, but it's like woven basket material.
Yeah.
That'd be lit, dude. I'm gonna call my guy about that.
You call him right now.
Oh, my phone's dead.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move over to the biggest story in North America for me, including Mexico. I think it's the biggest story in this whole region. Zlatan Ibrahimovic had a 2-0 lead with his LA Galaxy in the first half in a game that they had to win to get into the MLS playoffs, and they gave up 3 goals in the second half to lose 3-2, and Zlatan is out.
You're done.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable that the biggest name in MLS isn't playing in the biggest competition that they have, the MLS playoffs. I mean, it's not on him because his defense just disappeared.
Yeah, it's on Ashley Cole, probably.
They're up 2-0 at half against the Houston Dynamo, who had nothing to play for. It's reminiscent in some ways to the U.S. not qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, I buy
Trinidad didn't have anything to play for, and they just played free. And they went out there and did the business and beat us, and we didn't qualify. The Houston could do the same thing, playing for a little bit of pride, maybe for their jobs for next season.
Sure.
But still, I can't believe that the Galaxy couldn't lock it down, knowing that the Dynamo was going to make adjustments at halftime, and they gave up 3 goals. It could have been 4. It could have been 5. I mean, that's how bad it was. And then Zlatan just didn't make the impact that I think we all hoped for. And once it went 2-2, I was like, all right, cool, it's Zlatan time. You know, the Galaxy are going to do it. He's going to score the winner. He's going to be the hero. That's the narrative that really fits him. And it didn't happen. Houston scored the other goal and it was done. And Zlatan, for the first time all season, didn't make himself available for the media. Hasn't tweeted since.
Damn.
And I feel like...
That's insane.
I feel like that's not on brand. You need your biggest players to go address the media, whether you're winning or whether you're losing. And I'm pretty disappointed because it would have been great to hear from him. Now that responsibility falls on his teammates, who obviously aren't as eloquent as Zlatan. But it's just disappointing for MLS overall to not have one of your biggest stars in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's cool in any league. You want to see personalities that really, you know, make people excited
and make big plays. Yeah,
and he's that guy, and he does the whole like I am Zlatan thing, like you got Zlatan, like all that stuff where he's like riding a tiger and stuff, and like you need that in the playoffs.
He's got to be a hero for you, brand wise.
Yeah, again, I didn't even know he was a soccer athlete. I just thought he was like a tall Swedish knight who like slayed fire Nike deals, and all of a sudden I find out he does these like bicycle flip kicks and stuff, and I'm like, yo, this guy can ball out. And I wanted to see him in the playoffs, dude.
So that was one of the 2 biggest stories in MLS. The other one was the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Ended up doing the business and setting a record for the most points in a season when they won the Supporters' Shield, which we could argue is the most significant trophy because it's given to the team that had the best record over 34 games.
And they won it 3 times in the last 6 years. That's dope.
So does that make them a dynasty in some ways? And they won those 3 Supporters' Shields with 3 different managers. I don't know. I feel like that does. That would be 3 Premier League trophies over 6 years.
People like to knock on the whole like energy drink, like global domination scheme thing, but at the end of the day, they have an institution and a system that they like to play the beautiful game, and that legacy has lasted over these 6 seasons despite these 3 different managers.
Yeah, so a shout out to the Red Bulls for a fantastic season. Chris Armas took over for Jesse Marsh midway through, and I thought led them to even greater heights, and I think they're the favorite going into this. Now, I don't know if they're going to win it or not because my playoff preview is coming tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But
yo, good promo, dude.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Nice segue, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun. He won't be here.
I'm flying to Fashion Week in Boise.
I thought it was Dubai.
No, Boise, Idaho does a Fashion Week this time of year.
Got it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Everything's made out of potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving over to the Premier League. They speak English in this country. A lot of big storylines in this one.
The home of the beautiful game.
Where do you want to start? Which game? There were a lot of games.
Oh, let's talk about the big one, man.
Okay, the big one?
Yeah, the one with like.
All right, let's start then with Arsenal.
Yo,
okay.
oh,
I figure
Arsenal.
that's a brand that you'd be familiar with.
Yeah, global brand, the Gunners. Yo, I love Arsenal. Never seen them play. Don't know what they do, but I love them.
Yeah, maybe you've seen some of the videos of their fans being upset. Have you seen?
Oh yeah, big fan. I've been on Arsenal Fan TV several times, and they're like, "Yo, you actually know a lot more than the people who are usually on." I'm like, "Yo, that's dope, dude. Thank you."
Yeah, you just asked for the manager to be out, and
yeah,
I mean,
like
that's standard.
Wenger out. Like, I'm still saying it. Get it wherever he is now. Get him out of there. I don't care if he's in a hotel. Get him out. Wenger out. Put him outdoors.
All right, so Arsenal came into this game going into Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. 11-game winning streak.
Word.
And they drew 2-2. And there were some deficiencies in this game that I think led to maybe them getting exposed for some of their weaknesses. I would argue their back four, Granit Xhaka in particular. I know that he's excellent on set pieces, and I think that's the only reason he's in the starting 11. But manager Unai Emery is doing everything that he possibly can to get this guy on the field. And it's frustrating for me because I still don't think he's an Arsenal player. Now, I know that, or at least I think there's a stat out there, that when he's on the field, Arsenal scores more, but they also give up more goals. So you're doing a little bit of a juggling act there. I do feel like, though, because Guendouzi came in the middle of midfield next to Torreira, getting a little soccer nerdy here, and that threw off maybe the relationship that led to this big winning streak when Xhaka had been in there the whole time. There's a nice partnership there.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think there was a risk taken there, obviously, by Emery to put Xhaka at left back. They need to figure out what to do with their back four in general. They need to sign some players in that area of the field as soon as possible. They got the attacking guys.
Yeah.
That said, had this been the Arsenal under Wenger over the last few seasons, I think they lose this game.
Yeah.
But instead, at least they got the 2-2 draw.
Grit.
And I know there was some claims about, oh, they're on the penalties, and listen, they were both penalties for me. Both of the goals for Crystal Palace were penalties. You're like, well, Wilfried Zaha, he just doesn't matter. Xhaka should not be diving in there. He's playing the left back position as a defensive midfielder, and that's never a good look, okay? And you should know about.
I know a lot about good looks, and Xhaka's a guy who's like, yeah, he does like good stuff every once in a while. It reminds me of my friend.
The Cub?
Yeah, it was Cub. He's like mad good at sneakers, but he also like hits people all the time, and he'll like hit me in the face, and I'm like, dude, like your sneakers are fire, but like you gotta stop knocking people out and playing the knockout game all the time. You have good vibes that you want in there, but at the end of the day, it's costing you your sanity. So you gotta get Xhaka out, put him outside with Wenger.
Is he doing one of these?
Yo, I'm not gonna look at that, dude. I'm not gonna look. Not gonna look at that. I'm not gonna get hit. No.
Alright, just making sure.
I know how this works, dude. I grew up on the streets of Connecticut.
Oh, do you know producer Ben?
Oh yeah. Because
he grew up on the
ride or die.
He grew up on the streets.
Yeah, we were ride or die in Connecticut, dude.
Yeah.
Just like selling lemonade block to block.
His mom was fired.
Yo, I'm not gonna talk about that.
Shout out producer Ben. There's been some other claims from Arsenal fans going, oh, when they were tired because of the Europa League, and shut up with that excuse, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm coming in hot because Chelsea had to do the same exact thing, and they went to Burnley, which isn't an easy place to play, and they smoked Burnley 4-0, and for me, what's crazy is that Ross Barkley is emerging as one of Chelsea's top players. He's been
the guy.
He's been a bit of a joke in some ways. I don't mean it like, I always thought he was a quality player, but he seems like he had been the butt of jokes.
Yeah,
because he just like, oh, they just signed him because he's English, and they had to have those enough English players.
They were gonna sell him for like 40 million pounds, and then like he wasn't as good, and he went for like 15 million on like deadline day. No one really cared. Like I saw the tweet announcing him, it got like no engagement. Like I'd be embarrassed if I put out a tweet like that, and I'm not like a global soccer brand.
Not yet.
So, not yet.
So really impressive performance by Chelsea. So good, in fact, that every time I watch them play, I have to throw them into the conversation as title contenders.
Put them in.
They're in there. Now Liverpool did the business against Cardiff as well. I expect Liverpool to do the business at Anfield against Cardiff. So the 4-1 win, though impressive, I was like, yeah, all right. I expect that. That's how good they are. And that's how much they've changed my perspective on their quality, because I now expect them to beat Cardiff 4-1 at home. So there's really not much to get into there. I was just using Chelsea as a comparison to Arsenal fans. They're like, oh, they're so tired. So are Chelsea. And they still figured out a way to make it happen. So if you want to be a title contender, you have to deal with these midweek games. That means you're a quality club and you're doing good things. Okay, so let's move over to Manchester United versus Everton.
Word.
Now, Paul Pogba must be a god for you with regard to on-brand soccer influencer.
So lit, dude. He's still running up to that penalty in my mind, because that was a beautiful moment. Everyone else is doing penalties the normal way. They're going like, bah. But he's like, like the Pink Panther song is playing, you know? He's like writing like in his diary while he's like going down. I'm like, yes, dude, yes. Like dab it up as you take the penalty. Like do your run up and then like bah, like dab and kick it at the same time. It doesn't matter if it goes in. When will you guys get it? Soccer is not about scoring goals or winning. No, it's about doing stuff that people notice on the soccer pitch. Haircuts, dabs, do it. It's cool. That's what brands care about. Sorry, I'm fired up. That was so cool.
I will say though that Pogba is an incredible player. I mean, even the weighted pass that he led to Anthony Martial's second goal, and then he had another touch later. He's got a lot of quality, but then he also tried to do some tricks in the middle of midfield.
Yeah,
he lost the ball and it led to the penalty for Everton. Yeah, but Manchester United still get the 2-1 win. Very similar to Arsenal in some ways. They need to figure out that back four. I think it's all over the place. I think they need someone in front of De Gea, or 2 or 3 people that are leaders. You know, they used to have a Steve Bruce and Gary Pallister back in the day.
Yo, they need There's no one on Man United right now who's like just like a huge
or Roy Keane, right? They need somebody in there who might not be your most talented player, but keeps everybody in check and holds everybody accountable. And I think Manchester United could use that player more than anybody. When thinking about Manchester United, they're not a title contender for me. I think they're probably pushing to hopefully get 4th. And will settle for the Europa League. And I think that's just where the state of the team is. Unless they sign some players in January. But I don't see that happening because there's that great center back for Inter Milan, Skriniar.
Yeah.
And apparently they put in a bid for 75 million.
Wow.
And Inter turned it down.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but I mean, it would be cool if they played in the Europa League because you get to go all these like weird ass like Eastern European cities, which you don't usually go to, and that's a huge opportunity to expand the brand to smaller markets. So like they should be looking at that as like ideally get into the Europa League, finish like 5th or 6th or something. That'd be dope.
That would be dope. You know what else is dope? Having you on this video.
Yo, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yo, check me out on the internet, okay? There's this one account I really like. You gotta follow it. I hope you don't mind if I do like a quick little plug.
Yeah, you do you.
It's a hilarious Twitter account. It's at John Hudson. He's a really cool guy. You should check him out. And go check out this app. It's called Hang Time. It's a live game show app, and that John Hudson guy hosts it. Dude, it's lit, man. You gotta check it out, dude. I'll hook you guys up. But yeah, there's a link in the description. You can smash that. And like, yo, hit me up online, slide in my DMs. You know what I'm saying?
And thanks for watching, suckers. I'll see you tomorrow. Later.